Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I need a vintage carousel horse in this space, so let's make one. I watched a cooking show where a chef made a horse out of sugar by placing the sugar clay onto a drawing he had, and then when it cured, he took both halves and placed them together, making a standing up 3D horse. And I thought, what a great idea. I'll try that using paper mache. I find the metal framework to be much harder to do, so I decided to use the chef's way, which looked much easier for me. So join me, let's see how this goes. I'm going to start off by mixing my paper mache. I'm going to take the flour, put it in this container here, and add some water so I can get this nice runny mix. And don't laugh at my horse, because I never drew a horse before. I mean, I know what a horse looks like, but I never drew one. Two different things. So there's no instructions on how to do this. We'll learn as we go. I'm only using this paper as a filler to bulk up this half of the horse. Once I add the paper mache and it cures, then I can remove the filler. Oh, one other thing is I have plastic over my drawing to protect this drawing because I need this drawing to do the other half. So I'll cut the drawing out, flip it over, and that'll give me the other side of the horse. You're probably asking yourself why I didn't use masking tape to hold all that paper together. Well, I don't have any. That's why. And all I can do is just use what I have and then try to figure out how to do it. Now this is just the base that I'm doing, just to bulk them up. I'll be using this as my form to do my detail work later on. But once I have a thin layer of paper mache, then I'll let it dry. Once it's dry, I'll have a nice hard layer that I can crush down to help build his body. Then I'll add another layer to that and I'll let that one dry, and so on. So I'm not really worrying too much. Right now I'm just bulking them up. I'm just trying to keep all that work that I'm doing within the lines of my drawing. That's the only thing I'm doing, then I just let it dry. I'm at that point where I'm starting to think this may have been a good idea for the chef using a drawing for molding his sugar clay and not so much for my paper mache. I'm working on the back left side leg. I want it to bend like he's standing up on it. This will be just the base of the leg. It's just a bone structure. Shapes and lengths I can always do later. And now I'll just let this dry. Here's where I can start working on the body shape, crushing it into shape and cutting off what I don't need. When I add more paper mache, it will help stiffen it up and hold its shape. I'm loosely laying this paper mache over the body now. I'm not pressing into the valleys. I'm trying to go over the valleys to get a smooth surface. And then I'll let that dry. I'm still trimming what I don't want and also removing some of the filler. Not all of it, just what's loose. This will help in the drying time and also keep my horse light and airy. Time for the neck and his head. I know the length of his neck to the top of his head is about the length of his back area, so I'll use this as a guide. His neck and his head will be done in the same manner as I did the body. Plus, I'm not looking to make a real-life looking horse. I'm looking to make like an old antique carousel horse. That's my goal. Now, this is one thing I want to show you. When I'm talking about a runny mix, my paper mache mix, this is the consistency I'm looking for. I mean, everybody has their own preferences, but this one here seems to work the best for me. So I won't bore you with this part. We'll just move on to the next thing. He's like half dry right now. He's still moldable, so I'm going to try to mold him into shape. I'm trying to get this head and this neck to look like a horse. So it's almost like a clay right now, so I'm kind of like bending and pressing everything into place. So eventually I'll get it to look like a horse's head. The finished work will will make it look like a horse. I mean, it looks like I have a lot of layers of paper mache on it, but I really don't. It's only like 2 or 3 layers. That's it, really. So it's not going to be hard to cure them to get them to dry. I just put them out in the sun, and they'll dry right up. I mean, there's no need for me to have all this paper in here now, so I might as well take it all out. This is the stuffing that I had in there. And by taking this all out, it'll be light and airy, and it'll dry a lot better. I won't have to worry about mold or anything like that. So if you can take it out, take it out. I had to do some major work on his chest and his belly. It just wasn't right. It was too big. It was going outside the lines of the drawing that I did. Now, don't be discouraged when things like this happen. Just walk away, come back the next day if you have to, and try to solve the problem. I mean, there's a lot of adding and subtracting when it comes to this. So the best thing is just walk away from it. I mean, I had to look at a lot of pictures to see what a horse's body looks like, what their shoulders look like, the chest looks like, the stomach, the hips, the everything. I don't know. So I just look at images and I go from there and just add and subtract until I get it right. That's all. That's all you can do. I mean, that's part of the process. That's all. Just don't get discouraged. I'm finding it hard to get him to fit the lines of the drawing. So I'm going to draw the lines on a cardboard and I'm going to add him to the cardboard and I'll build off of that. That's what I should have done from the beginning. So, well, I'm not going to show you any more paper mache. We've done enough of that. So we're going to zoom forward. I'll take you to where I'm finishing it up. This way made it so much easier. I'm just wrapping the paper mache around him and the cardboard. This way I don't have to worry about the lines. He's being molded right to the cardboard. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So much easier. It's a must to try to get all the stuffing out to prevent future mold buildup. So I opened 2 holes in his body and pulled everything out. He's totally hollow now, all the way up into his head. I'll keep these openings in his body permanently for ventilation. What I'm showing you is how I'm positioning the legs to the body. I'm trying to figure out where the joints are on the horse and how I'll be attaching the legs to the body using wire. Now, once I get all the legs wired in and in the right positions, then I'll be able to paper mache everything and that'll hold the legs in position. The legs are not in the right shape yet. I still need to be working on them and I still have to cut them to the right sizes and lengths, which I'll be doing off camera. I'm using longer strips of paper mache and attaching them to the high points of the horse and stretching them over the low points. I'm not pushing the paper mache into the low points because that's what I'm trying to get rid of. And by doing this will help give me a smoother surface. And then I'll let this dry. I want to show you in detail how I'm building up the muscle on his leg. What I'm showing you here, I'll be using through the whole build, so I'm only going to show you this once, or we'll be here all day. What I'm trying to do here is keep everything light and airy. I'm using dry crinkled paper to build up his muscle, and I'll use the paper mache strips to hold it in place, keeping everything light and airy. I'm floating again the paper mache strips over the valleys, keeping everything nice and loose. So don't wrap it tight. Just getting another strip of paper here to hold that in place. See, I'm not squeezing it tight. I'm just using the other paper mache there to hold it in place. Keeping it loose. I'm not crushing that dry paper in there. That's his muscle. And what we're doing is we're putting skin over the muscle. Nice and loose. Now once this dries, I can put another loose piece of paper, wrap up another piece of paper and put it on there and do the same thing again to build up the muscle. Just keep adding to it till you get it right. You can see the leg come into shape now, slowly. Now again, I'm taking that paper mache strip and I'm putting it on the high points. I'm floating over that valley there. I don't want to push the paper mache in it because that's what I'm trying to get rid of. So there's the whole leg there on his body, right there. Just floating that paper mache. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just lightly touching it. Just touching it. Because if I push too hard, I'll push it right back into the valley, which I'm trying to get rid of. Trying to shape that leg. Now once this dries, it'll be hard. So don't worry about that. And the paper mache will stick. So you don't have to press hard to get the paper mache to stick. It will bond. Lightly touching it. Now this process here, what I'm doing now, is what I use through the whole horse. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing because we'll be here forever. So this is important to watch. The face, I'll show you the face, and when I put the saddle on him and stuff like that, well, I'll do that. I'll show you that. But other than that, like the hoofs and the rest of the body and everything, I'm just not going to show you that. We'll forget that. Now I'm doing his belly. Again, I'm just floating that paper mache over the valleys. Trying to form a belly there. Lightly touch it. I mean, when I'm touching that paper mache, it's like I'm touching air. I'm really not touching that paper mache. I'm just like very gently just touching it. It's like touching air. So when this dries, it'll dry quick too. So because it's all light and airy, I know this part of the video is probably really boring to a lot of people, but it's like watching paint dry. I know. But I think it's really important to see the process, how it's done, because this is something that you can use on any paper mache project that you're using. So just bear with me. But I'll be adding more to that leg. I want the leg to be a little bit fatter, but I gotta let it dry completely. We got to build up the muscle on the inside there too, but I'll do that later. Just the process. You got to go slow, one step at a time. It's not like you got to do it all once. You just do it slowly, and that's it. Now just let that dry. This is another thing I like to show you. What I like about paper mache is once it's dry, you can fix your mistakes. Like his neck and his belly were getting a little too big for me, so I cut away what I didn't like. Now I can go back and add to it and fix it. I'm also using this very coarse file to file down the areas I don't like. Once paper mache is dry, to me, it's almost like wood. I mean, you can work with it to get it into shape. And then I'll add a thin layer of paper mache over it just to smooth it out. Now, what I'm saying here is go for it. Take chances because you can always fix it. I mean, I'm just winging it. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just going to be adding and subtracting like I did with the rest of the horse. Just adding some base, and then what I don't like, I'll just take away. I do know they have a triangle-shaped head, and I have those jowls, the jaw that I got to get in there, and the nose and the mouth, and where the ears are on the very top. So I know these certain things. So right now I'm just building a base, and we'll just go from there. I finally have his face looking like a horse's face and not a cartoon face. This was hard to do, but I found doing his ears first, then working on the eyes worked for me. Positioning the ears was very important. Learning the bone structure of his forehead and his eyes made all the difference. I redid his face 3 times before I got it right. The key is just research as much as you can. Even his legs I did 3 or 4 times, and they're still not right. Now looking at these pictures, I can see his neck area is a little too big, and his jowls and his bottom jaw there. I have to cut some of that out, so I have to wait for it to dry, and then I'll start butchering it again and redo it. Have to thin his neck down a bit. Now working on his mouth, putting lips on him and his nose, and I have him on the side now drying. Always like using a hot glue gun when it comes to fine detail. It just works real good, and a good razor blade really comes in handy too. Also hot glued his eyeball, his eyelids, the nostrils, and his lips. issues. I can't get the colors right, so I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going for a different look. And believe it or not, it worked. Better than what I was originally going for. So I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you like it, please like and share. I would greatly appreciate it. So here are the final results.